coming back, I suppose you've all got leadership roles in your own businesses. So you've got responsibility to guide both your business and also the teams that work with you through the current uncertainty and the changing customer behaviours that you've all alluded to already. So, I mean, how do you see the role of trust evolving as we enter recovery and move on from here? David Brown, I'll come to you first on this one, actually.
Okay, thanks, Alan. I don't see the role of trust changing per se, Alan, other than, becoming even more important. The first observation I guess I'd make is, that the shape and size of markets will change. Existing players will disappear or will diversify. New entrants may eye an opportunity to enter markets. Therefore, for me, the most trusted relationships will endure. And the upside of that, of course, is, a relationship like that can command a premium price too, because it's about quality and value, and not necessarily all focused on the cost of the transaction. And I think the second observation I'd maybe have on that is, and this links to the trust DNA model, which Mark introduced, and which is in the magazine. So, when Mark talks about moving the business-to-business relationship beyond the transactional to a point where partners become strategically dependent on one another, my observation on that is, certainly in our sector, it has become increasingly competitive, and sometimes even adversarial in the distribution chain, some of those relationships. So I see the evolution of trust, Alan, meaning that businesses that succeed in the future are most likely to be the ones that collaborate more and in the future. So whether that's on a simple level, just sharing data and sharing knowledge and intelligence with one another, or at the other end of the spectrum, establishing joint ventures, building ecosystems, and all that kind of stuff. The point is, I see that that level of collaboration is likely to lead to a greater prominence of shared goals, shared value, both for business and their customers, and ultimately, hopefully, shared success. Mumby, does that resonate in your business at all?
Absolutely, David. I think I agree with you on 2 points. Firstly, I also don't believe that the role of trust has changed or will change. I think trust is a basic human tenet, so that will continue to be prominent. I think what has changed is the evolving expectations, and that's the second point you're making around that I agree with, around collaboration. I mentioned in my introduction that we've had to do collaborative work to support the industry. Firstly, our clients in terms of their continued existence in a very difficult climate with the pandemic, but also the healthcare system and the healthcare ecosystem actually, and bringing in other entities to support that sector. So I do believe that collaboration will continue to grow. As I mentioned in my introduction as well, RMB's approach to business is to work with our clients in finding opportunities where we can both achieve value, and that requires collaboration. I think one of the things I can add is that courage is one of the values we have at RMB, and I have come to appreciate how important it is in building trust. If clients are going to trust us and open their doors for us and have open conversations with us, we have to be able to do the same. We have to be able to show them that we have the courage to be vulnerable as well. And most of our clients are multi-banked, almost 90%, but 90% of them are multi-banked, purely because of size and regulatory requirements. But what that means for us as a business is that for them, it's as easy as switching to the next icon on their screens to do business with the next bank. So we are heavily reliant on that relationship that is based on trust, that clients can believe that we will give them the right advice and we will do the right things for their business while creating value, not just for them, but also for ourselves. And that has to be a very open conversation that we have with our clients. So in my opinion, I don't think it's the trust changing. I don't think it's the role of trust changing. I think it's becoming out in the open. It's coming out in the open that we need to talk about these things. Alan?
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mumby.
So,
David, anything you'd like to add on that one? Sorry.
Yeah, and that was really interesting there, and I love that from Mumby about courage, because we're talking about what is potentially changing as we go into recovery, if indeed, given that a lot of us are suffering from a second wave. I guess the one thing that we've all worked really hard on is that development of that trust, is the building of that trust, which of course can be so easily lost. Particularly when recovery appears to be taking longer than we thought. So I think Mumby's part about courage is really interesting, and something that I would like to think exists, because having worked hard to earn the trust and the reputation of delivering the service expected and demanded by my clients for their customers during these incredibly challenging times. I see this as the new normal. We keep talking about the new normal, don't we? But what do I mean by that? I think the big change that we've seen is the continuation of allowing our professionals to continue to be empowered, whether that's working from home, whether that's working in an agile manner, or back in the safe office environment. And just another angle I would put on that trust as well. We have an inherent trust with our colleagues, but our colleagues need to look to us for that trust as well. And what do I mean by that? Well, as I mentioned earlier on, 65% of our staff had to go and work from a home environment during the lockdown period. A number of those colleagues have moved back to the office, whether that's for HR matters, whether that's for mental health matters, or whether that's for operational matters. So I think there's another layer of trust we've had to bring into this, which is the trust of the employee to the employer, to make sure that actually we're providing a very safe environment for them to come back into. So I think for me, trust is multifaceted. It has to be from a client to a supplier's perspective. The trust has to be there, and that empowerment model needs to be strong. But from an employee to an employer's perspective, the trust that we are doing the right things in the right way for the right reasons has also got to be there as well, which is something that has come around in a very recent form, because none of us have gone through, fortunately, a global pandemic before. So just a different angle that we've taken from that trust as well, which I think Paul reflects in the magazine that's been sent out as well. That would be my view, Alan.
Yeah.